One of the major problems that these guys have when they're trying to get clients is, number one, they don't have any clients because they haven't done anything to actually build a reputation. And so they're trying to get money in the door as quickly as possible. Now, this makes total sense to me. So if you're starting a new business and you've decided that you're going to be a financial planner, for example, I use financial planners because they're just like, I mean, you could use anything. Well, let's use financial planners. I don't have a disdain for good ones, okay? But for most of them, it's like I have disdain for most consultants, even though that's who I work with. I want to work with the ones who already have established businesses and who are just trying to grow their brands, because I don't like people who have no skill, no talent, and who just want to make money off of other people. And so, but in a lot of these groups, they're groups that are there to help coaches and consultants get into the business. So one of the first things they teach them how to do is how to identify the niche. What's the problem that you can solve? Well, none of them can solve any problems because none of them have ever really done anything. So I'm in this group. None of them are all picking the niche. And so then they teach you to go out and research your niche. So what are the problems in this niche? Well, how do you do that? Well, you do it by doing interviews with people. So you bang a bunch of phones. You say, hey, can I ask you some questions about your interviews, or about your business? What's your biggest struggle? What are you dealing with? What problem would you really like somebody to solve for you? And then after you ask a bunch of those questions, you come up with some commonality between all of them. And then you say, okay, people say this is their biggest issue. Okay, I got to fix that issue. So then how do you do that? Well, you don't know what you're doing. And so now you got to go out and you got to do a bunch of research to figure out how I fix this guy's problem. No practical experience at fixing the problem, but you can regurgitate what you have heard other people tell you about how to fix the problem. This is modern day consulting online today. All right. So once they get done with that, now they've got their plan in place. They don't have a product or a service because that would take months to build out. Building out a good product that can actually service people is a time-consuming process. Just ask Matt, because we've been developing ours. It's just our monthly program. We're not even talking about the course. Like if we built a course out, it would be 6 months of labor-intensive work to create a course. Okay, what's the steps that need to go into place? What do we make sure we need to teach? What are the problems they're going to run into? All that stuff, very time consuming. They need money now. So instead of creating a course, what they do is they have a list of, they have a way of solving a problem. And then what they do is they go out and they start calling people on the phone, emailing people cold, doing the old cold call routine to try and schedule appointments with people. And they run into two really big problems with that. First big problem is that nobody shows up for their appointments, which is expected. If you get somebody to say, yeah, sure, give me a call. He's very busy. He forgets about you the second that you're off the phone. And then he doesn't show up for the call. He doesn't answer, or he needs to reschedule because something else is going on. And that frustrates these guys. Well, that's part of cold calling, especially when you've developed no brand identity, no authority, nothing at all. And you're just banging these guys cold out of the blue. The second thing is that they get on the phone with them and they think that what they're supposed to be doing is convincing this guy to buy their stuff, to buy their solution to what the problem is. Now, ultimately, in the back of our minds as consultants, that is what we want them to do. We want them to, whatever we got, because here's the crazy thing about it. I'm going to be real honest with you, be truthful with you, okay? You all have the same problem, all right? I know this is crazy because you think your business is different, but there are only 3 ways to grow a business. Only 3, okay? Get more people to come and buy your stuff, okay? Charge more money to the people who are already buying your stuff, or get those people who you're charging more money to buy more frequently, meaning add-on products and services. So one of those 3 things, if you are not growing, one of those 3 things is broken. Don't care what your business is. Okay? The prescription is only modified ever so slightly from business to business. Don't care whether you sell information products online or you run a pizza shop in Philly. Okay? The prescription for what you need to do those three things are largely the same. Okay? And so based on that understanding, when you get on the phone, when these consultants get on the phone with you and they start working you to the end, most of them are not even hearing what you say. They're not even listening to you because they're thinking, oh, the solution's all the same. And so the guy gets on the phone and instantly he starts asking buying questions. And it's frustrating to these consultants because why are these guys asking buying questions all the time? I can't even get through my pitch. I can't even lead them to the solution because they're asking me buying questions and I can't get over it. And I'm like, well, knucklehead, it's because you led them to believe that there's a buying opportunity at the end when you got on the phone with them. That's your problem. You see, when I used to do this, I used to have a trader assessment that I put on my website at Trade Empowered. You can probably still go get it. And I don't know if anybody would call you if you filled it out or not anymore, but it's probably still there. And the trader assessment was designed to get people to admit to themselves that they have a problem. Of the people that we talked to, the number one thing we did was offer a prescription on how they solve it on their own. Because, again, every trader deals with the same problem. He doesn't have a system that consistently will produce profit, or if he does, he doesn't follow the system. It's that simple. Because if you have a system that consistently makes money over time when followed, and you're consistently following it, guess what? You make money. So one of those two things is broken for you, and they all drive back to either a lack of preparation or a lack of discipline. And typically the lack of discipline is caused by a lack of preparation. So as I'm walking through, my goal is to help them understand what's broken with them. And so at the very end of that conversation, I say, so that's what I would suggest that you do. Now, if you want some help with it, I do have this training course, but ultimately, you need to decide whether or not that's right for you. And then what happens next is incredible. What happens next is a buying question. 9 times out of 10, we get the buying question.
How much is it?
No. It's, well, what's in the course? It's not, well, how much is the course? It's like, well, what's in it? Because what did we just do? I just spent 20, 30, 40 minutes with this guy, walking him through all of his troubles. He now knows he's got a problem. He's admitted he has a problem. He's demonstrated it to himself in the way he's answered the questions. But the entire discussion was centered around, how do I help this guy understand himself well enough that he can correctly identify what's broken in his system, so that then and only then can I ever tell him about how to fix it. Every single interaction they have with you, they should feel as though they received far more in benefit than the time that they gave up to spend with you. The very last thing that they should feel like after they got done is, God, that was just 40 minutes of a brutal, hardcore sales pitch. Because that guy will never come back to you. He will never call you again. And the fact is, only about 10% of the people that you're going to encounter in your messaging are going to be ready to buy on the spot. But a large percentage of them will be ready to buy within the next 90 days. So they are evaluating. Who do you think they're going to come back to after they run this same thing with 6 or 8 or 10 other people? You see, you may think that the hardcore sales guy is going to get them, and he might get them in the beginning. But what's going to happen is they're going to be disenfranchised, they're going to be unhappy, and they're going to end up coming back around to you because you were the only one who treated them right.